there, and welcome back to Don't Open That Door. Come along with our triumvirate of terror as we descend into darkness, hurtle into horror, and plunge into peril. If you've ever been locked in someone's heart-shaped box, you're in the right place. I'm Justin. I'm alone this Valentine's Day, but if you want to spend it with me, hit me up at 703... Wait, no. After the podcast.
I'm Nico, and we all know that Axel's real girlfriend is Riku.
Well, I'm Dan, and I suffer from minophobia.
Whoa. Well,
Reasonable fear.
Well, everyone take a deep breath. Dan, something special's coming up. What is that, Dan? What is that?
Well, as you all know, it is the season of love.
Ah.
And love is in the air.
Oh.
Because it's Valentine's Day, almost. Thereabouts, sort of. And we were watching a movie for Valentine's Day.
Aww.
Very astute, Dan. And you're right, because we're here today to review My Bloody Valentine, 1981.
We're not talking the shoegaze.
This was directed by George Mihalka, starring Paul Kellman as TJ, Lori Hallier as Sarah, Neil Affleck, no relation, as Axel, Keith Knight as Hollis, and Dawn Franks as Chief Newbie. So we open with two miners in a tunnel, which I guess is probably where they should be. Things take a turn for the sexier when one of them is revealed to be a woman who starts taking off her clothes. But unfortunately, she's killed by the other miner. It's kind of a bummer, I guess. Anyways, the film starts properly with a bunch of young men in the mines getting off of work, and while they're all taking a shower, they're talking about the upcoming Valentine's Day dance. You see, it's been 20 years since the last dance, and many young people, including Axel and TJ, are looking forward to the occasion. But naturally, as with love, Nico, there's always obstacles. What's the obstacle here?
So, murder. It's murder. Yeah. Things are not going super well, and the local mayor receives a Valentine's Day chocolate box, but instead of chocolates, there's a human heart in the box.
What's in the box?
Your wife's head. Wait, no, that's a different movie. There's also a warning to remember what happened 20 years ago. So you want to know what happened 20 years ago? Well, it was 2003, and no. Not quite. All right, so it was the Valentine's Day dance, and there were still a couple workers down in the mine. And the foremen, who were supposed to be keeping everyone safe, left early to go to the dance. Irresponsible! And methane levels got too high, and there was an explosion/cave-in. You hate to see it. By the time rescue workers got to the miners, they were all dead, except for one of them, a man named Harry Warden, who survived by eating his dead coworkers.
I got a real question right fast. So
Where's the lamb sauce?
Yes, but I also know that humans can survive quite a while, like without food. How long do you think it took them to get to him?
Long enough.
I don't know if he necessarily had to start eating everyone, but regardless,
he didn't have to, maybe he wanted to.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. Well, on top of that, and maybe because of that, Harry Warden was committed to a mental asylum. But apparently, he broke out a year later and killed the foreman responsible for the oversight that led to the cave-in. Okay, justified. He also warned the people in the town to not have any more Valentine's Day dances, or he'd murderate more people. Well, luckily, the mayor is a man of reason, and he's not going to jump to any conclusions, so the dance is still on. For now. Things change when a local woman is killed by a man dressed in a miner's outfit. She's stuffed into a dryer and cooked to perfection. Also, her heart is ripped out for good measure, which, amateur move. I love a good heart, like a good beef heart or chicken heart or something. Great. The mayor thinks that Harry Warden is back in town, even though he's supposed to be in a psych ward, and he cancels the dance. Importantly, though, the authorities tell everyone that the woman died of a heart attack, despite the fact that she was literally baked, instead of the truth. Because if everyone knew the truth, they'd panic, and maybe not do something irresponsible. But speaking of irresponsible, Nico, what happens next?
Wow. Okay. I'm the irresponsible one. Sure. Yeah. All right. So the local young adults say, fuck that. And if the town wants to cancel the party, we'll just throw our own. So they decide the best place to go do that is the rec room in the mines. Couldn't think of anywhere else. Lovely. We also get a little piece of romance action because TJ is in love with Axel's girlfriend, Sarah. You see, TJ and Sarah were previously together, but then TJ left town for a year and didn't really keep in touch, so Sarah linked up with Axel, but now TJ's back and he wants Sarah too. Good to know. Well, despite the warning, the unauthorized Valentine's Day party begins, and people start dying left, right, front, and center.
Mm-hmm. Well, luckily, no one in the back got murked. And Dan, I see you back there. How's this movie end?
I'd be back there sometimes.
Mm.
Eventually, the bodies get discovered and everybody runs away. Well, everyone that is, except for Sarah and some of her friends, because they decided to go 2,000 feet down into the mines to explore.
Fucking
That's
morons.
fun. Axel and TJ put their beef on hold as they descend into the mines to save their friends. Well, they kind of suck at it because everyone dies except for TJ and Sarah. Convenient. The cops are on their way, and TJ and Sarah begin to escape to the surface with the killer in hot, or maybe not so hot, pretty lackadaisical pursuit. TJ fights with the killer, and it turns out that it isn't Harry Warden. It's actually Axel.
What? Got
You
it
see,
memorized?
20 years ago, Axel watched his father get killed by Harry Warden, and since then he's kind of snapped and thinks that he's working with Harry now. He chases TJ and Sarah into a dangerous shaft and is caught in a cave-in. The police show up, but the movie ends with Axel chopping off his arm so that he can escape further into the mine. The end, as the credits roll, with maniacal laughing.
Maniacal
Aha.
laughing.
Well, Nico, since you opened your big mind, let's go ahead and talk about how this movie looks, shall we?
It's fine. I mean, it's a 80s slasher in a remote mining town. It's not very scenic, and I will say the set pieces in the mine are probably the highlights of the movie because the rest of it's just, a town with like you said, a rec room being perhaps the biggest set piece of them all. But the costuming was fine, the cinematography was fine, and the design of the villain was, I mean, it looks cool to see a big ass dude with a pickaxe. I mean, hey.
Yeah, I was going to say I really liked the way that the killer looked. I thought his all black outfit with the gas mask, it looks pretty cool. And I also thought that, and again, this goes towards a point I'll say at the end, but I think it's cool because it completely hides your identity. Like there was a chick dressed up in the miner getup at the start, and I didn't know that was a chick at all. Like you couldn't tell. So I thought that was pretty sick. But Dan, what did you think about the visuals?
I liked it. I also liked the mine setting. It was kind of cool. And quick bit of trivia on that.
Ooh.
It was actually shot at Sydney Mines in Nova Scotia.
Oh.
And it was chosen because of its rustic atmospheric appearance.
Hmm.
But when the locals found out that there was supposed to be a movie shot there, they actually spent $50,000 to have the mine painted and cleaned up.
Oh.
But that
Good,
kind of
honestly.
goes against the whole point of
Well,
the movie being shot there. So
Darn.
$75,000 of the film's budget was then used to unclean it and make
Wait, are you fucking for real?
Yes, supposedly.
They paid money to just say, hey, yo, fuck this mine up.
Yep.
What? Absurd. I love it.
All right. Well, that's interesting. And honestly, for the audio, I'm going to say it was competent. It was acceptable. No Wilhelm scream, nothing like that. I thought the music was acceptable. There weren't any really themes that stood out to me, more so just the local sounds of the fauna and flora, if plants make sounds. But Dan, what's your thoughts on the music of the night?
The music I thought was pretty good, actually. I liked the intro music when they get in their like little sexy time in the mine at the beginning. It was like this weird, like mysterious kind of music that kind of didn't work for a sexy-ish scene in the mines, but it also like kind of worked in a weird way. I enjoyed it, but I got a bone to pick with some of their accents, man.
Oh, okay. I left you alone because I knew you were going to come with that.
So it's shot in Canada,
Sorry.
and I assume it takes place in Canada or at least somewhere up north. And their accents usually don't really sound like it, but like occasionally kind of do. Like they say sorry instead of like sorry and everything. Okay, fine.
And they have healthcare.
That too. But every once in a while, somebody's accent like switches to like Scottish or some shit. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't understand how that happened. And TJ, I just could never like his voice just like changed throughout the whole movie, and I never understood why.
I don't know if all these actors are Canadian.
They're not. TJ is British, I think,
Mm, that might explain it.
but none of that was a British accent. So
Well, you know how sometimes like, you know, the old joke, like, oh, if you're American and if you want to like say bacon like a Jamaican, you say bear can. And
yeah,
like eventually like, so maybe it's like stuff like that, but for British people. So sometimes when they fuck up a Canadian joint, it comes out almost Scottish-ish
wow,
almost.
Whale oil beef hooked makes it sound like whale oil be fucked. So
that's
And
pretty good
more.
actually.
thank
Yeah.
you.
We got to come up with like a little bonus episode with just all these in there.
I'm down.
But Nico, speaking of your accents, what did you think of the dialogue and just generally the sounds?
It was fine. I have. There was one thing that was on my mind throughout this that I don't know if it should have been, but I'm curious, Dan, if you would know the answer to this. Like, where was all the high end in the dialogue? It felt like, and I guess this is just for movies of the time, but like, there's not a whole lot of that crisp brightness that I'm used to.
Yeah,
Can,
and that is a product of the time. Older movies and music and older audio is not as crisp because microphones at the time, condenser mics weren't really as much of a thing, and when they were not nearly as bright. It's only in the last couple decades that all that brightness is pumped into
Hmm.
audio. So you go back and listen to like Frank Sinatra and shit. Like there's not a lot of high end in there.
right? Yeah.
In older movies and everything as well.
Huh.
Yeah. I told them that too back in the 80s, but they wasn't trying to listen to me.
Damn, you're old as fuck.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like 100 at this point.
Yeah.
So, moving past that though, how does this movie, as we said, it is in essence a classic. Now, not teen slasher because they're slightly older than that. They're all in their like 20s, early to mid 20s, I would say. And how does this stack up to other slashers, do you think? You know, do you like it generally more or less? How do you feel?
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It didn't have a lot of, I don't quite know how to say it, but character isn't quite the right word. But when you
Mhm.
think of like the big three slashers,
Right.
each one has its own distinct like flavor, and the villain has their own characteristics and lore and everything.
This one just fucking hates partying.
Pretty much, he doesn't like fun. I mean, he does have his own lore in this one, of course, but like the movie as a whole, I feel like didn't have a lot of defining characteristics like some other slashers do. But I personally don't really think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I personally actually really, really like this movie. And part of it is because, you know, oftentimes when there's a slasher, you're just like fucked. Like, what are you going to do against Freddy Krueger? You know, not much, really. What are you going to do against Jason? Not much. But this dude, you could really box him down, you know? Especially now that he only has one arm. I think I'd win. So I'm definitely like on board with that. But Nico, I got to ask you two questions. First, how does this stack up to other slashers, I should say?
So I didn't like this as much as other slashers, but I think a lot of that is really down to the window dressing and like the scenery. Like the characters were all fine, but it just wasn't a really visually exciting film, I guess, as a lot of other slashers are. This one was much more cold and cramped and claustrophobic, which there's something to be said about that as an element of horror, but it just wasn't really my kind of vibe. What's your second query though, oh master of questions and fuckery?
Behold my question two, which is this possibly the most rule following killer ever? Because he has a very specific date that he will strike on, only if specific circumstances are, you know, not followed. And he even warned them ahead of time. He was like, "Hey, listen, man, just don't do this. Remember 20 years ago."
I mean, yeah, Now that when you mention it like that, it seems like a pretty clear cut, like, hey, don't do this one thing and you're good. I bet.
Yeah. And you got to think he only ever attacked people that were involved in the thing that was offensive to him, right, Dan? I mean, how'd you feel about that?
I don't think he did.
What?
I mean, he kills a girl at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
How do you know that was him?
How do you know it wasn't?
It's up for debate.
I do have a bone to pick with the beginning, though. I don't know how they never, like, everyone, like, left the mine and didn't even realize that somebody was missing.
Yeah.
One member of the crew did not come back and they didn't, whatever. Anyways, I don't know that they are, the killer is the most rule following one because he's not Harry. He's Axel. He's not the original killer.
Right.
So he didn't really set the rules. He's following somebody else's rules. But I also kind of wonder if he would have killed people anyways, regardless. And like the dance was kind of just convenient.
Because people did die leading up to the day itself.
Yeah. And I'm kind of wondering, like, I mean, the movie doesn't go nearly this deep into it, but I wonder if TJ coming back had anything to do with his motives to start killing people again. And he was angry about that or something. I don't know.
So the girl that he was messing with in the mines, first off, I don't know if she was actually part of the mining crew or not. He might have just smuggled her down there in the suit. But I think it was when she like took off her shirt and she had a heart tattoo. I think that's what really set him off because he like stabs through the heart.
That's fair. That's fair.
So it could be that, but keep that hot talking point about TJ and Axel in the back of your mind because we're going to come back to that. We'll circle back. And we've talked about this already, but how did you feel about the fact that Axel was actually the killer? And the reveal was that he basically snapped when his dad was killed, and now he's kind of carrying on the legacy of the Valentine's Day dance slasher.
I feel like it kind of came out of nowhere. Like, it really... I don't want to say it took me by surprise because it wasn't even like there wasn't like a moment of shock. It was more of a moment of just like, wait, really? That's where we're going with this? Really? I don't know if there's a specific word that encapsulates that sort of feeling, but like, I don't know. It just seemed almost not even secondary, but tertiary to what his character development had been up to that point. IMO.
Okay. Dan, I mean, I personally thought that it was also kind of out of left field because he really didn't display that many psychotic tendencies before that. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird. I don't mind him being the killer. And actually, leading up to that, I was like, I bet it's Axel. But when they threw in the whole, like, oh, as a kid, I watched my father get killed by Harry, and now I'm kind of revenge, I don't know, whatever. That part was weird. And I kind of wish that wasn't there because, like, I think Nico had said, and just kind of out of left field and like, what? We're going with that? So I just wish they hadn't done that. But Axel being the killer, I thought was fine.
All right. And I got to ask the room here, if there was one thing that you could do to kind of improve this movie, right? One reasonable thing, what would it be?
Honestly, I would make dude just more menacing in every way possible, just because the scene that really is foremost front in my mind right now is the final confrontation between Axel and TJ, and he's not fighting very well. He's like limply swinging ahead of him, very clearly hitting these walls and like support beams and stuff, but he's never actually swinging the axe at TJ. He's not trying to even mime it. He's just like, I don't know, goofing around with it, and it just kind of took me out of the moment.
I got you. Dan, how about you?
I'm going to echo exactly what Nico said. The last 15 minutes or so of the movie really kind of bummed me out because even in the synopsis, I kind of mentioned like it was a very lackadaisical chase scene because Harry or Axel is just like really slow and it's really poorly choreographed and fought, and it's not exciting or intimidating or scary or anything at all.
Bro, they
And
could have ran faster than that fucking minecart.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was bad. And not that I expect like a 2023 action movie level fight scene or anything, of course, but it was bad.
I like how there's just in your mind randomly. That's a massive fucking like OSHA vibe. They don't. I don't know if they have OSHA up there, but like there's just like a railing that leads to a fucking 60-foot pit of water,
Yo, for real.
and they're just like, "Oh, he fell. It's too late." He, sorry, there's like nothing there. In case a miner falls, he just fucked. Sorry, and that wasn't even the dangerous shaft. Like that was just like a place they worked.
It's just there.
Because the minecart
Yeah.
led right to it. So it was like, oh, okay. I guess every day we just got to contend with this 60-foot fucking drop of water. Like, all right, chief. And also, like, is this Super Mario? Like, you fell in the water, you can't swim? Like, it's like, come on, man. I take it back. Mario swims in some games, bro. Like, what the fuck is going on with this dude? So, I give him
Well,
credit, though.
I mean, he did swim because he was alive.
Yo,
he didn't
that's what I
die.
say. I give him credit because he fell into the 60-foot pool of water, got out, changed clothes, and met them back.
Mhm.
So he must have like
Hell of a
sprinted.
night.
And I was wondering where he was keeping his clothes at because
He's
multiple
just got
times,
a fucking locker.
yeah, like multiple times he would just like show up in like Axel outfit, then run away and switch into the miner outfit, then run back and switch to the Axel outfit. I was like, bro, how are you doing this?
Or he's just pulling a Superman or some shit.
Just
I
fucking
know.
winded every single scene. No one questions why.
Yeah, so I don't know about that. But what I would do to improve it is, as people who listen to the podcast might know, I'm big on detective-y. And one thing that I think I would do is introduce a little bit of a mystery. I would make it so it's not clear. There's maybe suspicion on multiple people. Who is the killer? Because one thing that I think we had here was we had a big cast of people.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't even talked about Hollis, who, in my opinion, is the realest one out of this
He's the
entire
best
group of
character
friends.
in the movie.
I loved how like there's a part where like Axel and TJ are about to fight and Hollis just like grabs one of them with like each arm. He's like, I am stronger than you, little man. And just fucking like pulls him apart. I was like, holy shit, you got it, bro.
Also, he like fucks up Axel. He like throws Axel.
Yeah.
across the
Yeah, he
room.
does.
And TJ, he's just like, you're good.
And then like afterwards, Axel, get the fuck out of here. TJ, are you okay? And like TJ started that fight. So I was like, okay. But yeah, I would have introduced a little bit of mystery because I personally thought another good candidate would have been the sheriff. I think would have been a good candidate for the killer as well if things had been a little
Big
different.
time agree.
So I would have liked to maybe see that. And to follow on the heels of that, did you have a favorite kill?
I think my favorite kill was, I forget who it was specifically, but it was one of the girls when they were in the mine, and there is a scene where he just, I don't know, activates the chain hooks from the ceiling, and all of these bodies just start to drop like they're on meat hooks and stuff, and he just lifts her up and tosses her down on one. That was a cool scene.
That was very brutal with 2 O's. Dan, how about you?
I'm going to go with the old lady he kills just because he shoves her in a dryer. And
That was
Yeah.
so goddamn dumb.
It's funny because Thanksgiving wasn't that long ago. And when she came out the dryer, she kind of looked a little bit like the turkey I cooked. So
Ayo.
I had feelings about that. I was kind of hungry. And he was talking about the smell. It might not have been a bad smell. He just said there's a smell. So I was like, oh, like roast beef. I don't know.
Neither
bro.
Dan nor I said a goddamn thing during that because we don't want to be associated with whatever cannibal bullshit you're peddling here.
Hey.
this is
But no.
not DOTD official stance.
Nope.
So my personal favorite kill was there was a chick who she was getting ready to like sleep with this dude on like a minecart or something. And so they're about to get it in and she's like, actually, let's get some more beers. And then he's like, I'll go by myself. And she's like, let me come with you. It's creepy in the mine. He's like, nah, you stay here. I'll get him.
Bitch, the fuck? No, I'm coming with you.
Yeah. And then he goes and talks to like 3 different people, has a good time at the party, grabs the beers and comes back. And then she's like, she's gone at this point. She's dead. But he finds her because the killer like took her over to the showers and then he shoved like a shower faucet into her head and had the water coming out.
That
And I
part
was
was
like,
kind of cool, actually.
oh shit, that's brutal as fuck, bro. I like that. Now we're going to sail into the what would you do. And there's going to be a 2-parter here. First part, love triangle. Axel, TJ, and Sarah. Question for you. Who do you side with more? Axel or TJ? Like, who's more in the right? Who's more in the wrong here?
Sarah, they both suck.
I'd say that all three of them suck.
Well, Sarah definitely sucks because
Yeah.
she also instigates a lot of bullshit. But I'm saying if you had to take a side between TJ and Axel, because Axel himself says, he's like, I understand it's no one's fault. Or TJ says that, sorry. But regardless, who's more in the right, do you think?
I'm going to go with Axel
Okay.
because, like, he literally didn't do anything wrong. He was just, like, dating this girl, and then her ex shows up, and then everything goes to shit. Like, there was nothing he did or could have done,
Fair. I asked this question because, Valentine's Day, we got to get a little romance on the podcast. Nico, how about you?
I think Sarah should have left both of them for Hollis.
Hollis
Yeah.
was already with, by IMO, the hottest chick in this whole movie. Hollis was living his best life, and these dumbasses roped him into his death, okay?
Yeah. R.I.P.
So-
to a real one.
Yo, you know what the worst part was? Like, Hollis was like, okay, we got to go straight back up. And like, no, Hollis, let's explore. And he's like,
Nah.
Hollis, I'm going to go smash my chick in an abandoned mine shaft. Give me 10 minutes. I'm like, dude, just leave. Just go back up to the rec
Bro,
room.
you
What are you
will
doing
never see me in a
underground?
mine shaft, abandoned or nah.
What you got against mine
Never.
shafts?
Hard no.
Hardest of passes, bro. I played Until Dawn. I'm good.
I mean, what's the worst that could happen in a mine shaft besides getting a cave in?
I mean, cave-ins are pretty bad.
Yeah.
You remember
can
that one movie that we watched?
The
The
Descent?
Descent.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
could
that's the worst.
No, they were not mining. They were doing that dumbassery where you like try and fit yourself
Oh,
through the
true.
smallest
In the
cracks
caves.
and like no map. I'm just like, what an asshole. Because you can find your way back out of the cave. You just got to follow the lights. And there was multiple intersecting tunnels and shit to prevent a cave in from killing everyone. So, yeah. But regardless, I feel you there. IMO, I know I'm going to sound like a real hoe for this, but I actually side with TJ because I'm going to tell you why. She ain't want Axel. Listen, he was like, hey, girl, let's go in my car right fast. No, I don't want it. And then like smiling and laughing and giggling and shit, jumped in his whip, went out with him, made out with him. And he's like, oh, okay. She's like, I don't know if I like you yet or not. And then she's over here like telling her friend, yeah, like I'm smashing Axel and I kissed TJ. And she's like, you want them both, don't you? I'm like, hey, you instigating right now. So yeah, I'm gonna go with TJ here. But the real question here is this. I already know the three of us would defeat that killer. But let's say the three of us are in the
Fucking
rec room.
easy.
The three of us are in the rec room, right? And then we discover like some bodies and we realize the killer's out there. How would the three of us defeat the killer, do you think? What would we do?
Are we in the mine already or no?
Yeah. We went down.
God
We went
damn
down in
it.
the mines.
Oh, I thought you said we're in the rec room.
Well, sorry. We were in the rec room, found the bodies, everyone dipped, and we went
Oh,
down to the
then we
mines to
down.
save
Okay,
everyone.
Got you. I'll grab some pickaxes.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
they're all
So we're
over
just
the
gonna
place.
Yeah.
just fuck his shit up.
Dual wield some pickaxe.
Maybe like toss a lantern on him.
Oh
Set
shit.
that bitch on fire.
See, you know what I would do?
What's that?
I would just drive in the minecart.
That slow ass fucking
Yeah.
2 mile per hour ass.
Wait.
car.
You would drive in the minecart, so you wouldn't even try to kill him. You'd just be
No.
playing fucking Mario Kart. Fucking Donkey Kong minecart.
Yo,
levels
the
over
Donkey
here.
Kong mine level. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, that's what I would do. It's like you two, I have no doubts in your ability to handle the killer. Like you guys got that.
Honestly,
I need to experience what Donkey Kong did.
fucking
So-
jumping around getting the letters.
Yo, but that minecart was really slow. I was like, yo, it was so slow. People were coming up and down past the minecart.
Literally.
I was like, what is the point of the fucking
My
minecart?
favorite is when the Axel and TJ were fighting and the minecart was like slowly going by them.
Yeah.
And it hadn't even left yet. And then it cuts to like the rest of the crew, like the whole town, like coming to save them. They're running past the minecart. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, but you're there. Like you're literally there. But they still had like a ways to go. But I'm like, no, the minecart is so fucking slow. It reminded me of the fucking
Oh no, I know what you're gonna say.
the Tesla, slow moving Tesla.
God damn it.
Texas
God bless
Chainsaw
America.
Massacre.
Whew. All right. Well, yeah. Solid. What would you do? Solid. What would you do?
Whew.
So we got to take it now to the critic review. What do you think the critic score is?
I don't know how well this has been like lauded by fans, obviously. Like, I don't know if this is a cult classic or anything, but I'm gonna guess that people generally fuck with this, so I'm gonna guess like a 75.
Dan, how about you?
I'm going to guess 82.
You're both wrong. Nico, you're
Oh.
closer. This was not reviewed particularly well. It's got a 58% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics. Audience score was even more harsh with the 52. But I want you to dig deep into your mind, or your mind, and tell me, what do you think this score should be? On a scale from 1 to 100, what are you giving this movie?
I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna give this a what was the audience, a 58?
52.
I'm gonna go with 58. I really didn't fuck with this. I think that there was a lot of good ideas here that were just not as well executed as they could have been, but I will say I did appreciate that it was different from other things that we've seen here on the pod, and like I didn't hate it. I don't think that it's fucking god awful or abominable. I don't fuck with it really.
Mm-hmm. Dan?
I'm going to say 73. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. And then the ending just took me out of it. Like the really shitty, slow moving fight scene at the end, the reveal and Axel's history, that was a little weird. And that really took me out of it. So 73.
Dan, I'm right there with you at a 76, because I agree that the film is let down massively by the last like 20 minutes of the movie. But aside from that, I kind of feel like this film is just a couple steps away from being a really, really, really good movie.
I agree with that.
I like it more than a lot of slashers we've seen on the pod. And I think it's a good movie. I just don't think it's genre defining like Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one. Like, I just don't think it's that good. Because this came out right around the same time, actually a couple months after the first Friday the 13th. And it came out on Valentine's Day, actually. They released it on Valentine's Day. So clearly, there was a lot of slasherisms in the air. So it is what it is there. But, and I think I know the answer to this, but are we going to recommend this to the audience?
I would.
I would.
I would not.
And there it is.
Aw.
Unfortunately, dear listener, this movie does not get lucky on Valentine's Day because Nico does not recommend it.
I'm a hating ass hater.
He is. But yeah, if you want to talk to us about anything in this movie or share your Valentine's Day plans, hit us up. We're on X and Instagram at DOTD Horror. We're also on Facebook. That's Don't Open That Door. Plus, you can catch everything we've done on our website, which is dotdhorror.com. And if you're feeling extra generous, you can leave us a good review where you listen to the podcast, because we can be listened to anywhere. And if you give us good reviews, more people will listen to us, which means we can do more. What is more? That's to be seen. We want to take this moment to tell everyone have a great Valentine's Day. You know what I mean? Make sure to use protection if your defense ain't high. If you follow the plot synopsis there.
Defense. I feel like it'd be dodge.
Dodge.
Agility.
It is dodge. Agility. All that. And as always, dear listener, don't open that door. Bye.